Hi everyone, my name is Megan and welcome back to my channel. Also, welcome to my first fully scripted video. So let's see how long I can stay on it. Anyways, today we are talking about art style. And that's also why I wanted to script this video, so I make sure to talk about everything I wanted to. But first, I will quickly talk about the drawing I'm coloring in this video. It is of my characters Stella and Elias, both of which I have talked about in previous videos. In this drawing, they are sleeping. And I mainly wanted to try a different coloring style, which I actually really like. I also have been practicing anatomy and character interaction, sorry. So this drawing is just kind of a combination of everything. Okay, now on to art style. Google is telling me the definition of art style is the manner in which the artist portrays their subject matter and how the artist expresses their vision. Basically, it's just the way you personally create art, because no two art styles are ever completely the same. Even when you are trying to imitate someone else's style, it is going to still be vastly different because it is being drawn by two different people. Each artist will put their own flair into their work. I like to think of it kind of like handwriting. Some people add loops or completely do cursive, and some people can write like a typewriter. Everyone, even if they aren't necessarily an artist, is going to have a different perspective, which also means they will have a different way to go about things. And if you think about it, that's what art is. The artist's perspective of life on paper or canvas, etc. For example, the other day I was looking at my outfit in the mirror and I realized I modeled the way I draw legs off of me. And I think that a lot of artists will try to imitate themselves in their art. Sometimes, again, like me, without even trying. I want to talk about my style for a second. When I first started drawing, my main inspirations were Leia Lopez first, drawing with waffles second. Whenever I would look at Pinterest, and even to this day, Leia Lopez would be all over my homepage. And when I started watching art videos on YouTube, drawing with waffles would constantly show up. So just by default, my art would look like imitations of them, just way worse because I was still new at art. And as a beginning artist, that isn't necessarily a bad thing. If almost 4 years later I was still doing that, that would be a different story. If you are a beginning artist, I would totally find several artists that you like and take inspiration from them. I will say, however, I don't condone copying and stealing others' art and claiming it as your own. If you do steal, in quotes, an artist's art for the sake of finding your own style, I would just recommend not posting it, or at least giving credit where credit is due. So, after almost 4 years of me drawing, I still take inspiration from the both of them and many more artists. But unlike 4 years ago, I don't need to constantly look at their art to even draw in the first place like I did. Even if you don't think so, I have branched off and created my own art style. To you, it may look similar to someone else's, but in my eyes, it is completely my own. In my style, I have a few things I do, like the Sims plumb bob I do. I honestly don't know when or why I started doing it, but one day I realized I was doing that, and it felt like I had been putting a little shape in the part line forever, but obviously I hadn't. Another thing I do is making the hair very swishy and fluffy looking. It mainly started because in 2020 I was really unhappy with my style. I realized that I really just hated the way I drew hair, so I just focused on making hair look real, almost, but still having my own artistic touch on it. I can say I did the same thing for everything about my style, from eyes to noses to mouths to face shapes to clothes. I literally could go on and on. Eventually, I figured out that finding my own style is going to take time. It won't happen on first tries, and it will be pretty much always changing. And for some, like myself, it's a hard pill to swallow. 4 years ago, wanted to just have my own style and be good and have all these skills without putting in the time. But real life would soon tumble down on me and basically made me look reality right in the face. That reality being that art is a skill. Nobody is born knowing the exact proportions of a face. That is something you learn after a lot of trial and error. Some learn faster than others, but they still put in the time and effort to learn. I used to look at art on Instagram or Pinterest and just wonder why my art wasn't as good as this person or that person. Well, it's because I was sitting on my phone instead of actually putting in the time to advance my skills, to be simply put. Moving on to another part of art style, beyond just the way you draw. So even if it may not seem like it, line art and coloring also play a huge role in your own style. Even if you don't do line art, that's your own way of making art, and that is your own personal choice and style. I used to do this thing where I would draw and color and then add line art to specific parts of the drawing, like the eyes and the nose. It did not last long because I realized I personally didn't like it for my own style. I also go through different phases when I decide to color first, then add line art, or just do line art, then color. It all just depends on how I'm feeling in that moment. I've also come to the realization that art becomes much more fun when you just go with the flow and change it up once in a while. That has helped me avoid art block as well. The way I do line art is very sketchy and loose for the most part. I used to take line art very seriously, and that would lead me to mess it up more often. Once I kind of got out of my own head about it and realized that it is literally just line art, it helped my confidence with it, and thus I got better. And if I make a mistake, I don't make a big deal out of it. So, for coloring, I pretty much have two different styles. I have the doing something quick in my sketchbook coloring, and a more finished drawing coloring. You will see in my sketchbook tour, if I ever finish it, that I color very simply, mainly because the paper isn't the best for markers. The colors are usually just a flat color with little to no shading. But, like you can see in this video, when I'm on paper that's better with my markers, I will shade a lot. Maybe even too much. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm actually doing a new coloring style. I used to go in and do a base color with one shading color around the whole drawing. Then I would go in and add more and more shading. That would often lead to not very clean blending. Also, if that doesn't really make sense, I would watch another one of my videos to actually see my process. For this drawing, I basically did all of the shading for one spot at once, except the hair. I had no idea what I was doing with the hair, especially with the lies. I was just really bored with how I used to color and pretty much decided on the spot that I was going to do something different for this drawing. So, what to take away from this video? Every little thing that you do to create art plays a role in your art style. Even things like how you fill spreads in your sketchbook play a role. Do you make it very clean, or do you play and make a mess? Do you do thick line art, no line art, colored lines, black lines? Do you add color? How much shading do you do? This all plays a role into your own art style. It isn't just about how you draw eyes or faces, it's about everything else that goes into your art process. And the reason I kind of wanted to make this video is I haven't seen a lot of people talk about this. And this may just be my opinion, but I feel like with art style, there's so many things that go into it. And again, this isn't just for like character drawing, this is for anything. Like, if you do backgrounds, how bold are your lines? You blend your lines, or are they just harsh and out there? And I've seen on social media some artists that don't even do a sketch layer, which, holy crap, I don't know how y'all do that, but props to you. Or even when they start at like a different place in the body, if they're drawing humans, like I've seen some people start with the legs. Like, I could never. But again, that's just somebody's personal style and their personal process. Like, another thing to take away is like, be proud of how you make art. And if you do something differently than me or any other artists, don't be ashamed. Own it. Don't think that just because you do something differently, you're doing it wrong. There is literally no way you can do art wrong. And I'll be the first one to say that most of my techniques are from other artists, and I didn't come up with them. For example, when I talked about my line art, I got it from another artist when I was personally in a really bad art block. And today specifically, the coloring wasn't inspired by one specific person per se. It was just overall me wanting to change because I saw the way other people do it. I feel like that's what makes art so cool, is that there's so many ways to do one thing. Like, there's no one way to do something. There's so many different ways, and I'm always learning a different way to do something, and I love it. So I think I'm done with my rant about art style now. We are going off of the script now, baby. Okay, I really just wanted to talk about this drawing more because I love it. I don't think everything in like atomically is correct, but whatever. Like I mentioned, it's of Elias and Stella, which I have made so many videos about Stella, and I created Elias in a video. Yeah, they're just sleeping. Okay. It's funny that a year ago this drawing would not have existed. Well, obviously, but like if I did draw this same thing, Elias wasn't even around, which is crazy. Elias was not a thing a year ago, and it probably would have been Caspian in his place, which again, crazy. Oof, this story has changed so much. But with the coloring, I really liked it. I really like it. I've been watching a lot of like painting videos, which I'm not a painter. I don't really like to paint, but painters will usually like underpaint. I don't know if that's actually the right word, but they'll like put like a base color down to go under all of the other colors, just to kind of make it more cohesive, I think. And I wanted to kind of try that with markers, except I didn't put like a base color down. I was just using like the base. I didn't really do it, but I mainly would do it with like the blush. Like I would put the blush down with the shading and just kind of use their actual skin color, which for Elias is E31 and Stella's E30, which like they're like one apart, but they're very different. But I would just kind of use their base colors to just blend everything together, and I think it turned out alright. It's definitely the smoothest, some of the smoothest shading I've ever done, and I just really like it. Also, Elias's hand is the only hand in the drawing, and I'm really proud of it. Obviously, it's not the best hand. It's probably not even the best hand I've ever drawn, but it's like, I like it, you know. I just, for the fact that I did it. I was gonna switch up the pose, but I didn't. I decided to go for a more complicated pose, for me at least. And I was looking at my own palm, and I have a lot of veins that you can see for some reason. So I was looking at my own palm when I was coloring his hand, and I realized you could see my veins in my palm. So I added some blue in Elias's hand to act as veins, and I really like it. I've wanted this like detailed, complex coloring style and just style in general forever, and I'm kind of just now getting to that point, and my self 2 years ago would be so proud. Again, this probably isn't even like my best drawing, but just, I don't know, it's just, I don't know, I just love it. I think it like represents change for me, I guess. Maybe. I don't know what I'm saying. I should definitely script my videos more often. And when I first started shading like Elias's skin, and I just like decided to do it differently, I thought it was gonna take so long, but honestly it didn't even take that much longer than my usual coloring style, so I'm definitely doing this more often. Also, again, if I ever finish my sketchbook and I tore it, I've been focusing a lot on muscles for some reason. I just decided one day that I wanted to draw muscles on my characters, so I've been focusing a lot on muscles and just everything like that, I guess. I don't know. Also, they're wearing bracelets. I colored them after I finished Stella's hair, but they're both wearing bracelets, and they're like friendship bracelets, kind of. They're basically each other's eye color, which I think I talked about this in one of my other videos, but it's just because red is Stella's favorite color, but that also just happens to be her eye color, and I would assume blue is Elias's favorite color. Blue or green is either his favorite color, like one of those is his favorite color, but they just have that. I feel like they made each other friendship bracelets that the other wears. So Stella's is blue with a red streak in it, and Elias is red with a blue streak in it, if that makes sense. Yeah, I've been focusing a lot on their story, and about 2 years ago, I think it was probably December of 2020, so almost 2 years ago, I started doing this character questionnaire thing for Stella. And I finished it. It was like about 100 questions, but they're like really detailed questions that really make you think about your character, and I totally recommend doing it. I just found it on Pinterest, but like I redid it recently, and it made me just like want to write her story. So I'm actually storyboarding their story now. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. And I've been like, since like I just moved and I unpacked, I basically went through all of like the notebooks and all of the binders I have for their story, because I have like 5 different notebooks and binders for their story. I went through all of them and collected basically all the information in my brain that I had, and I was reading something from when I first started thinking about Stella's story, and oh my gosh, it has changed so much. I'm glad it has changed, because my original like ideas for the story were just kind of not good. So luckily I have just thought of new ideas. But it's crazy to just even look back at my sketchbook where I created Stella, because oh my gosh, she has changed so much. And I keep forgetting that I created Caspian before Willow. But it just feels like Willow and Stella and Caspian have been in my head forever. But like I created Stella and Caspian in my 7th sketchbook, and then Willow came about in my 8th sketchbook, and then I think Marlo was all the way in sketchbook 11, and then Zola was in sketchbook 8 as well with Willow, and then Ren and Elias were in 13. But that was like 2 months ago. Like, it was probably in like February, but still. It's just crazy to think about what my brain has kind of come up with in the past like 2 years, because I created Stella in October of 2020, so she's almost 2 years old. And her canonical birthday is August 1st, which when I'm recording this is tomorrow. This might actually go out on her birthday, so that would kind of be ironic. But yeah, her canonical birthday is August 1st. I don't know what year. I don't know how old she is. She's 16 at the beginning of the first story, and then by the second story, she's 18. It's just all one big confusing thing. If you want to hear more about the story, look at my other videos. I don't know why I started talking so fast there. I apologize. But I am so excited to I'm only through the first chapter with storyboarding, so like I just need to do more with it. But I'm so excited to start writing it. Like, for my grandpa's celebration of life, I actually wrote a speech, and a lot of people liked my writing, if that makes sense, and said I was a good writer. So that kind of just gave me inspiration to write in a weird way. And I'm sure my grandpa is like, yeah, because of course that would come of this. I think he would like that. In such sad moments of time, I'm getting a lot of inspiration for my story. That's I hope he's laughing right now, because jeez. But yeah, I think at this point I'm just adding the final details of the drawing, like the purple shading. I really was scared to shade the pillow under Stella's head because her hair is gray, so I just mainly shaded it with purple because I didn't want to get too dark under her hair, so contrast. Also, the little red thing in the corner is a blanket. I just didn't really feel like drawing a more detailed blanket, I guess. And I was trying to have a lot of contrast, so the pillows are supposed to be white, the sheets are supposed to are like red grayish. I wanted it to be cohesive but also contrasting. It just And also I assume that the shirt Stella is wearing is Elias's, just if I know anything, you know. I I would assume it's Elias's. Yeah, overall, I'm really proud of this drawing. Drawing. Jeez. And I hope you guys like it too. I'm excited to get back into the swing of videos, because this video is honestly like 2 weeks old. Over that. My previous 2 videos are from like March or like April or something like that. July ended up being busier than I expected it to, so August is gonna be great. I mean, we're starting off with Stella's birthday, August 1st, so it's gonna be a great month. As always, I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you for sticking with me even though I have a very inconsistent upload schedule. I love all of you, and I will see you guys in the next video.